to continue the series of mysterious stories. Today I will tell you about an intriguing story in the deep forest. Have you ever walked through a forest and felt like you weren't alone? That feeling of being watched, of unseen eyes following your every move. Forests are ancient, mysterious places, filled with stories that blur the line between reality and nightmare. Tonight, we're going deep into the woods to uncover two tales. So chilling, they'll make you think twice before ever stepping off the beaten path again. These aren't just stories. They're whispers carried on the wind, warnings from the shadows that some things are better left undisturbed. Our first story takes us to a remote village nestled at the edge of a vast, dark forest. In this village lived a young woman named Alara. She was deeply in love and expecting her first child. Her world was full of hope and happiness until the day her lover vanished without a trace, leaving her heartbroken and alone. Devastated and shamed, Alara packed her few belongings and walked into the forest, disappearing from the lives of everyone who knew her. The villagers searched, but the forest seemed to have swallowed her whole. Months turned into a year, and life in the village went on. But then, strange things started to happen. Hunters and woodcutters returning from the forest would speak of an eerie sound, a soft, sorrowful lullaby drifting through the trees, especially as twilight fell. They'd follow the sound, their curiosity mixed with a growing sense of dread. And there, in a misty clearing, they would see her. It was Alada, or what looked like her, cradling a bundle in her arms. Her form faint and translucent, almost like smoke. She would just sit there, rocking back and forth, singing that haunting lullaby to the child that was never born. No one dared to get close. They would just watch from a distance, their blood running cold, before turning and fleeing back to the safety of the village. The story of the ghostly mother became a local legend, a sad and terrifying tale told to warn children away from the woods after dark. They said her sorrow was so profound it had tethered her spirit to the forest, forever searching for the peace she never found in life. Some even claimed that on the quietest nights, if you listened closely, you could hear a baby crying on the wind, a phantom echo of a life that never began. Now, let's turn our attention back to Alira's lover, the man who had abandoned her. His name was Kale, and after leaving the village, he had moved to a bustling city far away, trying to build a new life and forget his past. For a while, it seemed he had succeeded. A found work, made new friends, and tried to bury the memory of the woman he had left behind. But guilt is a persistent shadow. He started having nightmares. He would see Alara's face, not angry, but filled with a deep, bottomless sadness. He would hear her lullaby in his sleep, a melody that turned from sweet to menacing. The nightmares grew worse. He began seeing her during the day, fleeting glimpses in reflective surfaces, a ghostly figure at the edge of his vision. He became paranoid, withdrawn, convinced her spirit was haunting him. His new life began to crumble. He lost his job. His friends distanced themselves from his increasingly erratic behavior. He couldn't escape her. It was as if the forest itself was calling him back, demanding a reckoning. Kale knew he couldn't run anymore. He had to go back. Driven by a mixture of guilt and terror, Kale returned to his home village. He looked haggard, a shadow of the man who had left. He told the elders he had to find Alara to ask for her forgiveness. Despite their warnings about the ghostly figure in the woods, he was resolute. Armed with nothing but a lantern and a heavy heart, Kale walked into the same forest that had taken Alara a year before. He didn't tell anyone where he was going specifically, only that he needed to make things right. That was the last time anyone saw him alive. When Kale didn't return for several days, the villagers formed a search party. They ventured deeper into the woods than they normally dared, calling his name. The forest was unnervingly silent. The usual sounds of birds and animals were gone. All they could hear was the rustling of leaves under their feet and the pounding of their own hearts. After hours of searching, one of the villagers let out a horrified shout. They had found him. The scene was something out of a nightmare. Hanging from the branch of an ancient gnarled oak tree was Kyle. But he wasn't alone. Hanging beside him was another body, decomposed and barely recognizable. But they knew it was Alara. Their bodies were swaying gently in the breeze, a grotesque and tragic reunion. But that wasn't the most horrifying part. Carved into the skin of both their bodies were strange, swirling symbols, patterns that no one in the village had ever seen before. They looked ancient, almost ritualistic. The symbols seemed to glow with a faint, unnatural light in the dim forest. Terrified, the search party fled back to the village to gather more people and tools to bring the Bodhis down. They needed to give them a proper burial, to finally put their tragic story to rest. But when they returned to the clearing with reinforcements, the clearing was empty. The ancient oak tree stood there, silent and imposing, but the Bodhis were gone. There was no sign of a struggle, no broken ropes, nothing. It was as if Kale and Alera had never been there at all. They just vanished. The villagers were baffled and terrified. Had they imagined it all? Was it a trick of the light? A mass hallucination brought on by fear. But they all saw the same thing. They all saw the baddies, the strange, glowing marks. From that day on, no one from the village ever heard Alera's lullaby again. The ghostly mother was gone, but the fear remained, deeper than ever before. The forest now held a new, darker mystery. What were those symbols? Who or what had taken the bodies? And what truly happened to Alara and Kale in those woods? The story became a chilling legend, a cautionary tale, far more terrifying than the one before. It wasn't just about a heartbroken ghost anymore. It was about an unknown, ancient power lurking in the heart of the forest, something that could claim souls and erase all trace of their existence. The woods were no longer just haunted, they were hungry. The mystery of the vanishing bodies and the strange symbols was never solved, leaving a permanent scar on the village's collective memory. It serves as a stark reminder that some questions are best left unanswered, and some places are best left alone. The deep forest keeps its secrets well. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the shadows. If these stories sent a shiver down your spine, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the dark side. And remember, the next time you're near a forest at dusk, listen carefully. You never know what stories the trees might be whispering. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.